our him zone for week 3 definitely what was a fun time. There were a lot of great games that you already mentioned, and a few bad games that deserve being acknowledged as well. So I'll go to you first. Actually, who was your first him of week 3?
Yeah, the offensive shootout of who was going to lose this game between the Chargers and the Vikings.
Right.
There was some big time performances in this game, but none bigger than Keenan Allen. He had 20 targets, 18 catches, 215 yards, and he threw a touchdown pass. He threw a 49-yard touchdown
Did it
pass.
all.
So yeah, he truly did it all, and he's had a phenomenal start to the season for the Chargers. If
Yep.
you drafted him in fantasy, you're reaping the benefits because he's dealt with some injuries in the past, getting a little older, but to the start of this season, he's been phenomenal. One of the better receivers in the league, and he was dominant in this performance. I think it was a Chargers record in terms of receptions in a game. So yeah, he was phenomenal, and I guess just my honorable mention would be the guy throwing him the ball, who was
Sure.
40 of 47, which is
Sure.
insane. 40 completions,
Yeah.
405 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was pretty much damn near perfect, Herbert, on Sunday. So give him a nod as well.
For sure. Salute to them, and glad they got the victory there because we'll get to it again later on. But it may have saved a few jobs for a little while. So glad they got their job done there. With Keenan, I'll just say as well, he kind of is in that like Mike Evans lane that we keep on trying to say now. He might be getting to the end of his prime, or he might be past. He's no longer a top tier guy, and he's gonna give you flashes like, "Yo, I'm still here. I'm still that guy. I can still hang with anybody." And yeah, definitely was impressed with what I saw from Keenan, and with Mike Williams out. He definitely could continue to show that he's that top tier guy the rest of the way this year. So excited for him, and hope that things continue for him in that way. On my side for him this week, it's them this week. It's the Dolphins again. We already pointed out. Have to acknowledge them. The 70-piece McNugget they put on the Broncos there was absolutely incredible. We saw 4 touchdowns from Mostert, I believe it was. We saw 4 touchdowns from Devon Achane to get I feel like he corrected us on how to say his name, and my apologies on that. But from the other running back as well, I think got 4 touchdowns. Tariq was all over the field and running them up, and it was just a dominant performance to the nth degree from the squad.
2 out of few himself too.
Yeah. So they all just completely dominated that game, and it deserves our attention there. We'll see if they keep it up. People are talking about this might be the most high-powered offense we've ever seen. They didn't even have Jalen Waddle in that game. Adding him into the mix as well will surely.
Tyreek was great. He was like the quiet one, even though he had 100+ yards and a touchdown.
So what's I was trying to say? Jalen Waddle being back in the mix will surely make that even more interesting team there, and more scarier team to go up against. And they're going to get the Bills this week, I believe. So that'll give you a good first test to see how that plays out. We'll dive into that later on. But for what they did in week 3, have to salute them for what they did there. So good stuff. And honorable mention I wanted to throw in there as well. I hated on them a couple weeks ago, talking about Josh Allen and what was going on with them. But the Bills defense, so the Bills specifically, the Bills as a team dominated the Commanders squad. The Bills defense specifically, I wanted to acknowledge as they stepped up and made Sam Howell and the Commanders offense look like they were kind of like it was Sam Donald versus the Patriots, seeing ghosts. Like they didn't know where to go with the ball, and they're picking off Sam left and right, and sacks, and however they need to stop him. They had the defense was in full control on the field. So salute to them, and it made it real easy for the offense to go in and get and score after the fact to give them the grand victory that they did. So salute to the Bills. I was hating early on the season. I think I even tweeted out to you. My bad. I see what's going on with the Bills there, and respect the turnaround that they made already just in a few games. So yeah, definitely great things there.
Yeah, I think 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I'll pass back to you first for your first not him of the week. Who you have as the not him of week 3?
Yeah, like I said, it was an offensive shootout in the Chargers Vikings game, but they didn't get a whole lot of help from the rushing game in that game, and obviously we see that running backs do matter. Austin Eckler has been sorely missed by that Chargers offense. While they were able to scrape by and get a win against the Vikings, Joshua Kelly did not help them in that effort. He had 11 rushes for 12 yards. I still think if you suited up, you could probably do about that same, if not better. But yeah, that's a tough scene, and it's like they're expecting him to step up. Like he's been given these opportunities.
Yeah.
It's your backfield. There's no competition, and you're going up against a bad rushing defense in Minnesota, and still 1 yard per carry. Like, come on, dog.
It's
And
nasty. I also want to note, as we have talked about in the past, we have a fantasy league that we're very active and competitive in. And the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, I had Kelly put him in my starting lineup, started him over Mostert, not versus in the game last. I had made sure Mostert was last week. I had him in versus the Broncos, so I pieced it off of that. But 2 weeks ago, I put Kelly in over Mostert and lost my game by like 10 points because Kelly only got me like 3 points
or 4
again 2 weeks ago. Had I started Mostert or anybody else on my bench, I would have won that game. But I went with Kelly because he had just got the start over because Eckler was out and lost that game. Now, as a result, I was like, you know what? I got Mostert. I got the other guys. I'm dropping Kelly. I dropped Kelly. Somebody else picks him up. I forgot who picked him up.
I was gonna say, thank you, Nick, for picking him up because he picked him up and started him.
Our friend Nick picks up Kelly, puts him in his starting lineup as well. Kelly again has like 3 or 4 points. His bench eats again. Had he played anyone else, Nick would have beat Alec, but instead Nick lost because Kelly, at least partially because of Kelly and his lack of production there. So he has, in a way, killed 2 fantasy teams.
Thank you, Nick, for picking him up. So I did.
Yeah.
I surely would have started him too. So.
Alec for sure would have started. He's been trying. He was trying at least before to Kelly for a few weeks now. I'm sure that time has passed. But Kelly was a guy that everybody had everyone's attention, and now seems almost untouchable. So, but we'll see how things go going forward. Do think that he will have a better situation as a RB2 behind Eckler, and when there's more of a duo there, he can just be more specific to his role, for sure. But right now, as a starting back, he has been not him as the six right. So, yeah, definitely a tough look there. So I hear you in that. Again, I mentioned in our other episode or earlier talking about winning and why the importance of how that comes into play. Someone who we thought was going to win this last week but underperformed, and the team lost as a result. Dak, as I wanted to point out, I don't want to dogpile, but it is what it is. When you keep producing like this, you just have to acknowledge it. And Dak not being this Cardinal squad, just what everybody thought he would do so. The Cowboys having which should be a high-powered offense. The Cowboys being a top-tier team, as many people view them to be, coming out versus the Cardinal squad, who most folks view as tanking. Though again, we respect Josh Dobbs, we respect James Conner, and the pieces that they are developing over there. The Cowboys should have won this game, and the fact that they got beat by not 2 scores, and what was unacceptable. You could point to the whole squad, truthfully, with what went on with that team, because obviously they let the Cardinals score and do what they did. But Dak only having Dak going 25 of 40, 249 yards, only 1 touchdown and a pick as well. Having a game that was mediocre to his standards had to be acknowledged this week. And then to the opponent, that plays its part as well. So there were other teams I could have mentioned. I already mentioned the Bills, and the Commanders on the flip side could have been acknowledged in that. There were other squads as well. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins and him choking in the end could have been acknowledged as well. But yeah, the one with the highest expectations we had this week that underperformed the most was Dak. So I wanted to point that out as I'm not him this week. Do you agree with that, Alec?
Yeah, this was the one dog walking call that I got wrong. I had
correct.
What was it? The Bills over the Commanders had that, and the 49ers one I had that. But the Cowboys, man, I know not having Trayvon Diggs, who tore his ACL in practice, is huge for the defense. That's a huge loss. Correct. But as you said, the offense should have been able to put up points on this Cardinals defense, who we just saw give up a second half masterclass to Daniel Jones in their comeback against them. You do expect more from Dak as the QB. Kind of a team loss, but you do expect more from him and that offense to score. So not
a good look. So those are him and not him of week 3. Definitely let us know who your best and worst performances were of last week, and definitely want to hear what you have to say about that. Definitely fun and continuing to bring the him zone in this way to you each week. So good stuff there.